Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to discuss the Modern Warfare 3 reveal, some of the changes Sledgehammer Games has planned for this year's Call of Duty installment, and why the studio walking back so many of Infinity Ward's design decisions from Modern Warfare 2 could have big implications for the franchise moving forward. A quick side note before we get started. I don't play Warzone, and am much more invested in the campaign, multiplayer, and zombies experiences. Warzone enjoyers are welcome to stick around, but I won't have very much to say on that side of the game. While rumors have been swirling for quite some time now, Call of Duty officially unveiled its next installment, Modern Warfare 3, on August 17th, with a flashy gameplay trailer. Like Modern Warfare 2, the visuals look fantastic, and there are plenty of callbacks to the OG MW3 in terms of story beats and iconic locations we'll be revisiting. According to info shared by the official Call of Duty account, MW3 will include 16 remastered Modern Warfare 3 maps at launch, along with the return of Ground War, and will feature several core franchise game modes. MW3 will also feature the return of many franchise staple features that the community has been desperate to see make a comeback since the launch of MW2 last year. While many of these were leaked prior to the reveal itself, it's been officially confirmed that MW3 will feature the return of COD staples like the classic minimap, featuring red dots, pre-match map voting, and a perk that will silence your footsteps, along with several other changes that directly contradict IW's vision in MW2. Increased health and a higher TTK, slide canceling, non-chargeable perks, reload canceling, and changes to tactical sprint all fly in the face of how Infinity Ward designed their last title. For many, this is both a return to form and a validation of their frustrations with the state of the franchise during IW's time as its lead developer. I was frankly surprised to see that, after one studio dug in their heels and went against what so many fans wanted, another would turn right around the next year and try to undo all the damage that's already been caused. Some might chalk this up to the cyclical nature of COD's release cadence, something that's repeated itself time and time again over the last decade, with 3 separate development studios working on a single franchise, each with their own take on core pillars such as ranked play and zombies, along with clashing design philosophies when it comes to preferred gameplay styles. Expecting things to change with each new release is simply part of being a Call of Duty enjoyer. Treyarch will dedicate more resources to competitive balancing and zombies, while Infinity Ward typically acts like those two things don't even exist, with Sledgehammer usually trying to strike a balance somewhere in the middle of those two polar opposites. It's only natural, then, that they might feel like taking things in a different direction than Infinity Ward did with Modern Warfare 2, right? In the eyes of most hardcore Call of Duty fans, Infinity Ward has always been seen as the studio that looks at zombies and competitive players and says, nah, those guys. I'd be lying if I said they were my favorite studio out of the 3 COD developers. I'm a firm believer in Treyarch supremacy, while Sledgehammer tends to stumble a bit, but usually makes their way to the finish line eventually. With Infinity Ward, the upside is a lot harder to appreciate, especially in light of the changes they made with Modern Warfare 2. Not a single player, not one, asked for perks to require a timed charge up before use, a near universally disliked change that fans questioned from the very start, and that IW later nerfed to the point of being practically irrelevant. You've been playing COD for 15 years and expect enemies to appear on the minimap when firing an unsilenced weapon? Nah, sorry buddy, the devs didn't want to punish players for shooting their guns. Just forget about those last 15 years when that was never ever a problem before. We got a solid rank mode thanks to Treyarch, but even that was bolted onto MW2's flawed frame, and Zombies players have once again been left to sit in the corner and twiddle their thumbs for entertainment. Anyone who's been around Call of Duty for more than a few years has seen some pretty wild design changes between titles. Studios have taken us from boots on the ground to advanced movement and all the way back around. We've seen short TTKs and long TTKs, World War II settings and futuristic atmospheres. We've played with specialists and supply drops and every other change under the sun and back again. Such is the life of a COD player, but for some reason, this time feels different. I don't think it would be a stretch to say that MW2 has become one of the most disliked Call of Duty titles in the history of the franchise. With so many seemingly pointless changes to core components of the COD formula, player sentiment has seemed to trend steadily downward since the game's release, and it's easy to see why Sledgehammer and Activision would want to right the ship and turn things around. And how better to do that than by responding to player feedback and undoing all of the damage Infinity Ward has done. While there have certainly been flops in Call of Duty's long life cycle, Ghosts will come to mind for many, although coming off the heels of BO2, arguably the best COD of all time, didn't do that game any favors. The amount of open hostility from the community towards both Warzone and the core MW2 offering has become palpable. Players in any game, particularly multiplayer titles, will always find something to bitch about. I would know. I've mastered the art of complaining about my favorite games through decades of practice. But to say the Call of Duty community has been in crisis during most of MW2 would be putting it mildly. The cynical take on this situation is that it's just another year of COD. The last game pissed people off, so the next one fixes all their complaints. But players will still find plenty of things to complain about when it releases, and then we'll be back to square one. and in 10 years we'll all look back fondly on MW2 and remember it for the masterpiece it truly was. That's a joke, by the way. I highly doubt anyone will be advocating for MW2 to have a spot in the Call of Duty Hall of Fame. And while players love to complain no matter how good a game is, I can't imagine Activision has been pleased to see the negative press surrounding their flagship franchise for the better part of a year. When MW3 launches, it sounds like we'll be landing in a spot much closer to Modern Warfare 2019, but with some crucial tweaks that will help the game appeal to not only the Warzone community, but competitive multiplayer and zombies fans as well. The best of both worlds, so to speak. That leaves me wondering, what's next for Infinity Ward? Obviously, we don't know how the Modern Warfare 3 campaign is going to end, but I'd wager it will conclude this rebooted saga that began back in 2019. Frankly, I'd be shocked if they didn't wrap things up and left room for Modern Warfare 4, but nothing surprises me anymore when it comes to Activision Blizzard. We know Treyarch is slated to release their next game in 2024, but after that, who knows what's in store? Is IW going to try rebooting Infinite Warfare? Will we be doomed to repeat a never-ending cycle of different COD eras being remade until it's 2050 and we're all playing the 5th reboot of Modern Warfare 2 in our nursing homes? When does rebooting go too far? We've seen companies milk classic IPs until they're ground into dust across TV, movies, video games, and more. Is this the cycle we'll be stuck in forever? It was originally rumored that Modern Warfare 3 was going to be an expansion to MW2, a fully priced title that would feature a scope somewhere between a small game and a large DLC, and would carry over core features of the previous title. This did not turn out to be the case. And with the yearly cash injection that each Call of Duty release provides, I would be shocked to see that change in the future either. That being said, the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard now seems closer than ever to finally closing. While Microsoft has said Activision's creative operations will remain separate once the deal is done, could we see Infinity Ward pulled off Call of Duty to work on another IP? Or perhaps the franchise's yearly release schedule might actually change with the financial backing of Microsoft behind it. Whatever happens in the future, I think one thing remains painfully clear. Infinity Ward well and truly bungled Modern Warfare 2022. People lambasted Vanguard when it came out, and rightfully so. I think it was one of the weakest COD releases we've seen in the last decade, but MW2 managed to push the community so close to the brink that Sledgehammer had to step in and undo all of their changes just a year later. I'm not sure why Infinity Ward is so staunchly opposed to things like zombies and movement mechanics, or choose to focus so heavily on slowing the pace of their games down to a crawl. At least Modern Warfare 2019 was better than MW2 in that regard, but it's been made abundantly clear that these changes aren't what the player base really wants to see. For the record, I'm all for experimentation and evolution in gaming, particularly when it comes to a franchise that's been around as long as COD. But I think it's important for any developer to strike a balance between finding what players love about their games and keeping those core components intact, while also spicing things up enough to keep them from getting stale and boring. I'm not sure what's next for Infinity Ward, but I truly hope they learn their lesson from MW2's reception and are able to take all of this feedback to heart when it comes to developing their next title, whatever that may be. I'm a firm believer in the age-old phrase, don't believe the hype, and I think that applies to Call of Duty now more than ever. Don't get me wrong, Modern Warfare 3 sounds absolutely fantastic. Classic maps, a higher TTK, more fast-paced movement, and other classic features should all come together in a package that will help get the franchise back to its roots, which is where I firmly believe it belongs. That being said, we won't know how good it is until we have our hands on it, so keep your expectations in check and your fingers crossed that Modern Warfare 3 will actually be as good of a game as it looks and sounds. I, for one, would love a reason to grind Call of Duty like crazy again, and it seems like that might be exactly what we're getting. I hope Sledgehammer has seen all the community feedback over the last year and taken it to heart, which it certainly seems like they have, and I hope they're able to provide a Call of Duty experience that everyone can enjoy, whether you're a pub stomper, ranked grinder, zombies player, or Warzone fiend. Here's hoping the next year of COD will be better than the last, because boy do I think we all need that right about now. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more gaming content, and let me know your thoughts on the Modern Warfare 3 reveal, and if you like what you've seen so far in the comments below. Thanks for watching. You're a real one and I appreciate you. Catch you later, homies.